Okay, it's time to start our pet portrait paintings. Let's just go over a few things. I've got a pretty big paper, so I don't want to see any teeny tiny little animals in the middle. Make sure that your animal takes up most of your paper. I know I've said this 1,000 times, and you're probably getting tired of hearing me say it, but you guys sometimes press so hard on that pencil that you're actually carving a line into the paper, and that makes it really difficult to erase. But if you remember to draw lightly, you can always go back and make it darker later. Or if you need to change something, it's really easy to change it. You just erase it and nobody ever knows it was there. But if you need to erase those lines that you pressed really hard on, you're going to be erasing for a really long time. And depending on the paint that we're using, you might not be able to cover it up with the paint. But the lines that you drew lightly, nobody will ever know that they were there. So please be nice to your paper. Please be nice to your pencils. They've never done anything nasty to you, so don't be mean to them. Okay, so draw your animal in the middle of the page, and then you're going to divide up the paper and add in the special items we talked about. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen this poster in my classroom, but have you ever actually read it? It might not be a bad idea to read it today before you start painting. Okay, here's what I mean by taking care of your brushes. Here's a brush that's been well looked after and cleaned properly. Nice, clean, straight line. And a brush that wasn't taken care of so nicely. Which brush do you want to use with your project? Okay, now you want to use the right brush for the job. So if you've got a big space and a little space, make sure you're using the appropriate paintbrush. You don't want to use that tiny little paintbrush up at the top to paint that big circle. You could be there a really long time. So with a bigger brush, I start on the outside edge. I want a nice clean line. I want this to be as neat as possible, because you know I'm going to be sending Eric Waugh some of these pictures. You want to do a great job. Now fill in the space in the center. Now, I'm going to paint the little one. Which brush am I going to use? Yeah, you're all smart enough to get that one right. Okay, now it's time to start painting. You're going to start with your background. Outline the drawings you've done and then paint all the background in around them. Remember to keep your brush strokes really neat, keep them going pretty much in the same direction so they're not all messy looking. Once again, outline your animal and then fill in the background. Once you've done that, you can start painting the background objects. And then hopefully by then your background's dry and you can start painting your animal. I started with the light brown first and then added the dark brown in. Now I'm just going to use a thin brush to add in the details. And the thicker brush to add the bold lines in the background. And a marker to finish off the details. So here are the things you need to do to create a great pet portrait. You've got a big paper, so remember to make your animal big. You might need to change something, so when you draw lightly to start. You can always make it darker later. When you're painting, use the right paintbrush for the job, not a tiny brush for a big space. And you want to paint neatly. You'll be happy you did when you finish your work. And of course, you need to do your very best.